Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live. Yes, all the way live from Black Pearl Studios, where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. All right. Welcome back to another episode of Turn Left. I am so excited that this new format allows me to interview and introduce to you many more candidates than just the live show. I'm telling you, I'm getting the feedback like, yo, Dana, about time. Why? Because a lot of people couldn't make Thursday nights. It's all good, though. But now we are making it so that we can get as many candidates in your presence, in your knowledge base, so that you can support them. And tonight, next up, I got Ethan Sweetland May, who is running for State Senate, District 47. Ethan, welcome to the show.
Oh, my gosh, Dana Black. No, thank you so much for having me on. This is about as cool as it gets. This is super cool. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's super cool that you're running for office.
It was not on my to-do list before this past year. I was not like, you know what? I can't wait to get into the arena of politics, but needs must. And sometimes you got to rise to the moment.
I love that. So tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Okay, absolutely. Ethan Sweetland May. I live in New Albany, Indiana. For those who don't know, it is a literal stone's throw across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky. My district, State Senate, District 47, is comprised of most of Floyd County, Harrison County, and Washington County. Harrison County, for the Indiana history nerds, is known because Corydon, the county seat, also used to be the state capital. You can't go through Corydon without having somebody tell you that it used to be the state capital. And it so happens that the seat I'm running for, there have been a lot of really great Democrats that have held this seat in the past, not the least of which was Frank O'Bannon. Frank O'Bannon was the state senator for District 47 before he went on to the governorship. So, I moved to New Albany in 2009. I was born and raised in Terre Haute, Indiana, actually.
Okay.
But my wife is from this area. I moved down here. We got married about, 17 years ago.
Wait, I got to pause. You got married 17 years ago? I don't mean no disrespect, Ethan, but you look like you're about 25. What is you talking about? 17?
No, my wife and I, we were young. We were babies. Okay. I had just turned 22 and she was 19. We'd been dating for we'd known each other for quite a few years since high school, and we'd been officially dating for about a year. And I knew, she knew, and wow. that was 17 years ago. Our daughter Eve came along around about 11 years ago.
Okay.
For about 11 years, I served this district literally from Corydon back into New Albany and Mockport down by the river out to Salem in Washington County from a garbage truck for 11 years. I worked on a garbage truck. I drove. For 11 years, I was in a garbage truck. I was on the curbs, on the county roads, and in the neighborhoods and the suburbs. There are very, very few places in this district that I haven't been. And it is a really diverse district. It is everything from, proper towns and cities to as remote and out there in the boonies as you can imagine. And it really, part of that is why when the opportunity to run, when I was approached about running finally came, I feel that I truly do understand this district. I really do know its ins and outs. I know down by the river and I know up in the county, and everywhere you go, people are facing almost universally the same kinds of struggles, the same kinds of problems. We have far, far more in common than we have that we're different.
Yes.
And helping break down the false divisions, the ideologies that don't really represent our values, our sense of community, and helping people reintegrate as a neighborhood. I believe in that project. And
So, I'm super curious because I'm just a nerd that way. What made you ride the trucks, brother? Like that's not easy work, right?
It's not easy work.
And there's dignity in that work. And I'm excited that you just told me that you were on a garbage truck for 11 years and now you are seeking office, which is a testament to anyone who is listening that you don't have to be anything other than who you are to run for office. So talk about those lived experiences of being on that truck and why and what those experiences bring to you as you're campaigning for this office.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm the fourth out of 11 kids, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there you go. There's a drop that bomb. Yes, I'm the fourth out of 11 kids, homeschooling family from Terre Haute. From the jump, just because of my father is a Rose Holman graduate, but he always really, really wanted us to go into business for ourselves, to work, right? And money was very tight in our household growing up, as you might imagine. And so I knew early on that if I wanted anything in life, I was going to have to work for it. I was going to have to work for it. And I was 16 when I, first started like my first real job, and, homeschooling made it so that I could knock out a day's worth of schoolwork in about 3-4 hours in the morning and then go work in the afternoons.
Okay.
And I started working when I was 16. And whenever I started, my wife Aberlin and I started really dating, her dad owned a small garbage company, 4 or 5 trucks here in the area. And when I moved down to the area and I kind of announced my intentions, I was like, I'm really serious about Aberlin and I want to marry her. Her dad very sagely was like, okay, do you have career plans? Do you have, what's your plan for your life? And I had just finished out at a little ministry school in Northern California. I had thought that maybe I had a call to ministry. I'd been told that my whole life. You're going to be a preacher. You're going to be a minister. And I went to ministry school, and it just ultimately it wasn't quite what I wanted. Faith is a big part of my story, but so is the journey to kind of a broader place in my life, a bigger point of acceptance and inclusion in my life. But anyway, my father-in-law was just like, it sounds like you need a job. And I was like, absolutely, I need a job. And there's no kind of job I'm scared of. I had done a lot of jobs by that point. I'd done carpet cleaning, and I'd worked in retail, and I'd done quite a few things at that point. And and so he gave me a job. I started on the back of the truck, which we call a tipper. We didn't have hydraulic lifts on our truck.
Right.
And so everything went into the back of the truck from one side to the other, and you get it in. And the thing that it is a really intimate thing being on people's curbs every day, picking up their trash. And you learn that it teaches you to be no respecter of persons, because people who got nothing at all are the most grateful. They are out there. They say thank you. They bring you water on hot days. There are people who, they live in the nicest houses in the richest neighborhoods, and you never see them. There's no sense of, I see you and I appreciate you. You can't, it teaches you to be no respecter of persons. And it also put me every single week, every day in places where you wouldn't end up except if you had to go there. These aren't through streets. And you see the tarps on the roofs. You see the broken down car. You see, you see what's in the trash. See what people are able to buy. See when times are hard and there aren't packages like that people are ordering things. And it really drove home just through daily experience that everyone is going through something. Everyone is facing their own struggle and their own fight, and that there are certain bedrock things that everyone depends on, like the garbage. And there are certain things that, if those things go away, people's lives start coming unraveled. People start struggling so quickly. You could see, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but there was more than one time where I would see a car that was clearly had broken down, and within months start seeing unpaid bills going into the trash, like envelopes that don't get opened. and you just see them. It's like urgent, second notice, third notice.
Right.
And we know that most people are just one emergency away from being wiped out financially. We know that most people have less than $1,000 in savings, and we know that working people keep getting squeezed because everything costs more, utilities cost more, groceries cost more. And I've been knocking doors since October. And meeting people at rallies and meeting people, at community meetings, and the number of people that I've met, introduce myself, to them, ask them where they live, and they tell me where they live. And it turns out I picked up their trash. I picked up their trash for years. Thousands of people, thousands of people in the district. I personally have picked up their trash at one time or another, and it's a strange kind. And I'm like, when I talk about wanting to be an advocate for you, when I talk about wanting to serve you, to put your interests ahead of the interests of organized wealth and power, I'm saying that as somebody who's already done it.
Right.
I'm saying as somebody who, there's not a lot that can scare me, and there's not a lot that can turn me away. I already met the possum living in your trash, and I also, I've been waving to your kids as they got off the bus for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
And I'm no longer on the trash trucks. About 5 years ago, I switched to a sales job at another company.
Okay.
And that was picking up trash when I was 22 versus picking up trash when I was 33 was not the same.
Different.
Not the same job anymore.
It's very different. Oh my God! I'm telling you, I was I was working at Pepsi. Loading trucks, driving a forklift and loading trucks, and I started at 32 because it was like, oh my God, I'm working at Pepsi. This is the greatest job ever. And then I got in there, and the first couple of years, I'm like, this is a young man's job, and I'm an old lady, or I'm getting close to old ladyhood. I need to get up out of here. And I ended up switching and moving to other places. But it was like, your body just, that type of labor will wear on you. And
it will.
Especially when we don't have a healthcare system to accommodate for that type of labor. Talk about it. As you were coming to the conclusion, okay, thank you, father-in-law. It allowed me to help establish my family, but my bod. And when you think about the healthcare situation here in Indiana, how does your experience relate to how you think about how we should be advocating and supporting healthcare for folks here in Indiana?
Absolutely. I mean, we got company health insurance after I've been working on the trucks for about 5 years. And because, it's hard for small businesses. It's very hard for small business. And we know that everything about our healthcare system is stacked to make very rich insurance companies much richer.
Exactly.
And squeeze employers, squeeze employees as much as possible.
Right.
And because we have a for-profit healthcare system, which is inherently broken, everything tells us why that model is broken. And so, like most people, even people who have health insurance, it tends to be my first instinct to not go to the doctor. I have to. I was raised. That's right. I was raised. I mean, my family. My dad was an entrepreneur. There were 11 of us. We went to the doctor as little as possible. We were extremely lucky. We are extremely lucky that all of my siblings made it. Really, you go back 50 years, and there's 11 kids. At least 2 of them didn't make it out of childhood. At least 2 of them didn't make it out of childhood.
Yeah, my mom was the oldest of 7, but she said there was 2 before her.
Yes, absolutely. And I now at my current job, I work a sales job in the manufacturing sector with stainless steel manufacturing and stuff here in the area. And I have pretty good insurance, but still between co-pays and your out of pocket limits, everybody, even if you've got it, your posture tends to be guarded. Your posture tends to be do I want to open that can of worms? Sure, I'm going through something, but it's not too bad yet. And it's amazing. I used to follow this, but the number of people who you'd see win $100,000 in the lottery or win $50,000 on scratch offs, how many of them would turn around and go to the doctor?
Right.
How many of them would turn around and go get that dental work done?
Right.
like, yes, we've made healthcare, we've made dental care, your luxury bones, something that you can only do once you reach a certain level of comfort and success.
Yeah.
And with the most recent, and with like the changes to SB1 and with other cuts made to our Medicaid system, like I'm talking to people in the district, grandmothers who have full custody and responsibility for their grandchildren. This lady was telling me that she has a 6-year-old autistic grandson. He's getting speech therapy, and with Medicaid, speech therapy was $200 a month to her. And after the reshuffle, she made an error in the paperwork, got kicked off, had to resubmit the paperwork, and now is on a wait list to get back into the program. And when she gets back into the program, it's going to be $1,000 a month for her grandsons, until she gets back on Medicaid, it's $1,000 a month for her grandson.
Okay.
That's what I meant to say. Until she gets back on Medicaid, it's $1,000 a month for the speech therapy that was $200 a month, which is to say, while she's on this wait list, her autistic grandson isn't getting speech therapy.
Right.
And you think about the ripples that has. Multiply that by 10,000 people, 10,000 kids across the state in a similar situation, and think about how we know that early intervention has so many benefits and so much long-term impact on that child's ability to work, to hold down, like to like pay rent, to do all the things that contribute to our society. Something as fundamental as his ability to communicate effectively with others and be able to express himself, hindered because of red tape and paperwork put in front of essential medical care.
Yeah, and that crazy.
Is a policy choice. Yes.
That is so crazy, because you would think people who consider themselves public servants, now I'm not saying every elected official considers themselves that, but some of them do. And the first thing they want to do is cut services to save wealthy people taxes.
That's right.
And to me, it's just sickening. And what I'm finding about your story so incredibly interesting, and I know why Dan Cannon sent you my way. Shout out Dan Cannon.
Shout out Dan Cannon, man.
Who don't love Dan Cannon? Like, oh my goodness, that guy. That guy. But anyway, your story is so interesting because you are literally coming from the part of America, the part of Indiana that we seem to have lost as Democrats. Talk to us as someone who comes from that community. And obviously, just like when people say, well, what do black people think? I can't tell you what every black person thinks, because people literally do that to me. Like, bro,
so are you not officially the chief of all black people? Right.
Child. Can't even be the chief of black lesbians who are left-handed. Come on. Like, let's quit playing.
Whoa, help me. Oh, good.
So when what are the conversations that are happening amongst this particular demographic that we are really trying to get back, that we've been missing out on? That you're going to, as a candidate and as someone who's going to win, because I'm claiming it, who's going to win,
amen,
how we can be better prepared to speak to their needs, because we are obviously messing up.
That's right. And I mean, it really comes down to somebody's got a hand in my pocket. The chip on people who look like this, like in this area, somebody's got a hand in my pocket. Somebody's got a foot on my back. They are aware, especially, I'm 38, the people that are 10 years older than me, and even people that are 10 years younger than me, the sense that we are getting screwed, that the system is stacked against us in some way. Someone's got their hand in my pocket is everywhere.
Okay.
And the question is, who is it? Who's got their hand in my pocket? And we are so far behind on the billion-dollar messaging machine of right-wing media. Of course, the great irony being that, I don't listen to the mainstream media, and of course, Fox News is the mainstream media. It is the main of mainstreams. It is the biggest dollar of biggest dollar media systems, right? But there is the awareness that I'm getting screwed, I'm being cheated. Somebody's got their hand in my pocket, and then having these really powerful media organizations say it's Democrats, it's the people that are coming for your taxes. And people can see their taxes being taken out of their paycheck. They can see that this is something, hey, that was my money and now it's going away. And I need money because I'm struggling so much and I can't afford health insurance and I can't afford, my house payment, or I can't find a place to rent. It's taxes that are my problem. And who invented taxes? Democrats did. Right.
And of course we did.
Of course we did. Of course we did. And being able to address the sense that you are getting screwed and to speak to it from the gut and be like, you are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The deck has been stacked against you.
Naming the thing.
Let me tell you who's stacking the deck against you. It's really powerful corporations that want to make sure healthcare is as expensive as possible in our country because they own the stock in those companies.
Yeah.
That money comes to them. It's insider politicians who know they're going to go work for this firm when their political career is over.
Yeah.
And as here in a plus 36 Republican district for the last 3 state Senate elections, it's making it clear that this is a problem about power. I've been saying over and over since I've been running, all injustice is rooted in an imbalance of power.
Interesting. So you're not even diving into like who wrote what policy. You are making it as general as possible so that they can like wrap their head around the generality of, oh, wait, it's not just you. It's all of us that they're coming for, regardless of how you identify from a policy perspective.
Yes. I am. And because I have been, again, like, I mean, I've literally I was knocking doors before our call here. I was out from about 11 until about 2 today with some volunteer folks in the neighborhood. And, the other week I was knocking on doors and I started talking to a lady and I was going through my regular spiel. And I always ask, like, I'm knocking doors. Is there anything that's really impacting you and your family this year? Are there any issues you feel like we should be addressing as a state that we're not? And the lady who was responding, she started with like, oh, well, how do you pick? And usually that's Democrat coded. If somebody starts the conversation that way, I'm usually about to have a conversation where they're complaining about things on the federal level. They're talking about high prices, et cetera. But then she started talking about how the president's trying so hard to root out corruption. The president's trying so hard to get rid of all the fraud, and he's just being stopped again and again. He's just being stopped. He's not getting supporting needs.
Wow.
Right. And so I'm like, I can tell that's a really important issue to you. She's like, it is. It absolutely is. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be clear. I'm running as a Democrat. I didn't vote for the president, but I know a lot of people voted for him because they really care about fraud and corruption and they believe that he's going to do something about it. I'm running because I really care about fraud and corruption as well.
Okay.
I was like, and I know that the problem is really powerful corporations and insider politicians who have this handshake between themselves so that when your utility rates go up, they're the ones that are cashing in. When you can't afford groceries, they're the ones that have made sure that there's a monopoly on food supply and you can't get it from local sources, right? And I always come back to anywhere you have a concentration of power that goes unchecked for years and years, you start having a good old boys club where it's all about patting each other's backs and that hand gets in your pocket. And I was like,
I'm struggling because it doesn't seem like you get a chance to talk about how, because obviously, you can't say nothing about the Orange Menace to them because then they're going to be in their feelings like you talking about their spouse, right?
That's right. That's right. You're absolutely right.
So you can't. But how do you she said corruption and fraud, but dude just sued himself to give $1776 billion to himself.
Yep, that's right. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right.
How do you draw that line then?
I was raised in a certain kind of religious upbringing, and for a lot of people from a certain kind of religious upbringing, or even from just anywhere where you're belonging to a group was not just your identity, it was also your salvation. It was how you were going to get through life.
Okay.
right? And your certainty about belonging to that group is your anchor. It's the thing that all other stuff goes sideways. Like, you've got this. You're this kind of person because I'm not like those other people. I'm with this group.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And how that insulates you from anything that disrupts that worldview. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that does disrupt that worldview isn't like a new idea. It's a threat. And whenever we're threatened, all this shuts down. Everything in the front of our brains that can do narrative building, that can do connection, that can, make disparate, pathways between seemingly opposing ideas, all that shuts down as soon as we hit threat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, so I'm very conscious of the fact that when I'm talking to people, and I experience this in my own life, mm-hmm. the thing that helps you move from a place where your certainty about what you think, about what you believe, the thing that helps you move from that place to a more open place is someone who you can believe in. Okay. Someone who you're like, I don't necessarily agree with everything this guy says. I don't necessarily agree with everything she says, but I trust her.
Interesting.
I can tell when she's talking to me that I'm not her enemy. Right. And I'm not shy about, when it comes to actual issues, if somebody actually wants to have that conversation and ask me what I think, I'm not shy. I'm not ignoring or dodging the issues.
Right.
But especially somebody I just meet on their porch, the thing that I am building, the thing that we have to build is this recognition that, like, I am like you.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah. I understand why I actually do. From the way it's been presented to her, from the world as billions of dollars have been invested to shield the things that they don't want her to see and give her the things they do want her to see, along with whatever buy-in, along with whatever like willful looking away from things that disrupt your narrative, right? Absolutely not passing, not giving a pass to people who are making poor choices and not being accountable for what they think and how it impacts especially people who aren't like them, especially how it's impacting the immigrant community, especially how it's impacting the Black community as they're rolling back civil rights. And they're putting the blinders on purpose, right? Mm-hmm. Not giving them a pass on any of that, but also acknowledging that because of the kind of animals we are as human beings, mm-hmm. we mm-hmm. are tribal creatures.
Yes.
And
thank you. Oh my God! See. Okay, Ethan, you were speaking my language because, like, I remember me and one of my Democratic mayors in the state, Dermot. We kind of got into a little. He had said some things on his podcast that and this was a few years ago. He had said mm-hmm. a few things on his podcast that irritated me because he was saying that he thought that there was there's always a desire to diversify representation in the Democratic Party. Republicans don't give a mess. They don't care, right? They don't care. We are being conscious about, making sure that we have different segments of our society that are represented in the policymaking process. And he at one point said in his on his show that he felt like the Democratic Party wasn't for white males anymore. And I took great offense to that only because, mostly because the numbers tell a different story, right? When you look at who the elected officials are in the party, who the party leaders are in the party, the vast majority are white males. And then white women, Black people, and other minorities make up the rest. Like they were over like 55%. They were over like 60% of the leaders in the party. Right. But here is why I always want to remind people why it is so incredibly necessary that we have a diverse group of people, including straight, white, Christian males. Cis, straight, white, whatever. Because there is a group, the majority group in this nation is that.
Yeah.
And if you are liberal and you believe in progressive values, we still need that person to go talk to them because Indiana's own Dana Black ain't gonna get through, right? Like it ain't finna They're not. They dismiss me as soon as I walk through the door because they feel like I already have an agenda that is opposite of theirs. Even though my agenda is making sure you have clean air and clean water, that you have all the medical care you need, that you have. It doesn't matter that my values align with you. They're going to dismiss me. And brother, I said all that to say in your interview, because this is all about you.
Oh, no. Please.
I am so grateful that you have decided to sacrifice time with your wife, who obviously you love. 17 years, honey. I'm still trying to do 17 minutes. I struggle. I got a great partner now, so I'm good.
Amazing. But
people don't always understand the sacrifice that it takes to run for office, and I want to say thank you, because this work that you're doing is not just about running for office and getting elected. You are walking in spaces and educating people in ways that the rest of us, even young people, when you're under 25, you're gonna get dismissed because you know us old people, 55 and older, with our AARP card, we want to hear your ideas and we want to hear where you're coming from, but we also have lived experiences that go, we've already done that. Like you think it's a fresh idea, but we've already done that.
That's right.
Right? So I want to thank you for running first and foremost. Now, before we check out, we got to talk policy, because now you've opened my brain up to how to communicate with people in a way, because I was losing this argument. I wasn't winning it. And you just elaborated on how. And I wonder if it's your divinity education that has helped you navigate that psychological inputs and outputs that you described. But let's talk about policy, right? Every campaign has at least 3 issues that they've either highlighted because of their lived experiences or things that they recognize as they've been knocking doors and communicating with constituencies. What are the 3 issues that that are the backbone of this campaign, or just at least 3?
That's right. So fresh out the gate, like SB1 cut $170 million from our public school budgets. Bam, like that. Over the next 3 years, that's all drying up. We're already seeing schools go into reaction mode over that. We're seeing that an elementary school in my neighborhood is likely closing. They're consolidating with another school. Classroom sizes are going up. And at the same time, we're seeing 35-year tax abatements for the biggest tech giants in the country building their data centers here in our backyard.
Oh my God!
Right, that is at every door, almost every other door that comes up. I have not knocked on a door yet where that isn't an issue that I see people's eyes light up and them activate over, because everyone recognizes that there isn't even free school lunch, and we're giving the most wealthy companies in the world 35-year tax abatements. Right. That's not a made up statistic. That actually happened in Jefferson. Right.
We know. Turn left listeners, because I know they're sick of me complaining about this particular topic, but I'm going to keep talking about it because it is so significant, because we haven't even done. I talked to a candidate yesterday or whatever, and we're doing this over Memorial Day weekend. And he talked about, we haven't even done a true environmental study on the impacts of these data centers. We don't even care if people. Okay. I'm sorry. These are your issues.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Getting actual rules, getting actual impact studies, actually doing the work of a legislator to make sure that people's air is clean, that their water is clean, that their soil isn't, that we are looking at what it's going to be like 3 generations from now, at least, because of what we're approving today. Another really big issue, this is very close to me, and this is the policy that we are pushing aggressively, is the creation of a domestic violence registry here in Indiana. Okay. We saw Tennessee do it last year. Tennessee beat the country to doing this.
Wow.
And it's called Savannah's Law in Tennessee. And what it is it operates just like the RSO registry. If you are convicted of domestic abuse in Indiana, you're going on a public registry, your name, your picture, and your crime. And there's a reason for this. There's a reason to single out domestic violence. It's because it has one of the highest recidivism rates, the highest do-it-again rates of any crime in the United States. Over 60% of men who are convicted of domestic abuse will go on to reoffend within 3 years.
Just so that we make sure that we're giving equal time. Would you happen to have the statistics on women who are accused of domestic violence and what their recidivism rate is?
Absolutely. The recidivism rate is slightly lower for women. I do not. So the one guy, Chuck Derry, out of Minnesota, who was a co-founder of the Gender Violence Institute, he primarily works with men because it's primarily men. However, about I think it's about 1 in 9 abusers are women.
Okay.
So, but the rates of recidivism are very similar.
Okay.
Because unlike other kinds of violent crimes, unlike theft, unlike drug-related crimes, domestic violence isn't fueled by psychological need. It isn't fueled by things that are fixed with therapy, by things that are fixed with intervention. Domestic violence overwhelmingly is a deliberate, controlled, conscious choice by the abuser because they like control. And this has been extensively studied. The profile has been mapped again and again and again and again. They like control of the money. They like control of the narrative. They like not having to do chores. They like not being, nagged or nettled about anything. They are very aware why they choose to do violence instead of communicate, instead of compromise, instead of do the things that healthy, giving people do in a relationship.
Right.
And this is a big part of it. They know that the penalties are not very onerous. They're not very high. And they know that all they have to do is move on to another relationship, another town over. You can control the narrative. And we know that people who commit domestic violence, the likelihood of them eventually seriously harming or killing a partner is very high. It's very, very high.
I need more men like you out here and listen. Domestic violence and abusers are in every demographic. Yes. So don't bug out. I need as Ethan, you hitting me. No wonder, Dan, we gonna end up messing around talking all damn day. So the thing is like as the lesbian, the loudest mouth in Indiana Democratic politics, who happens to be the resident lesbian. I am often approached by this, I see where men are often talking about how manly they are and all of this, but they won't even stand up to each other when homies are messing up and they know it's wrong. They'll know it's wrong. So thank you for standing up, and you ain't even beating your chest talking about what your testosterone levels are. So like I'm loving you. Okay. How's the saying go? Anyone who must say I am the king is no king. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, that's two. Oh my God, I'm loving you. Okay, ladies, this is your candidate. Ladies, woo. Go ahead. Next one.
No. Next one, I really want to create paid parental leave in Indiana. I really want to create paid parental leave in Indiana. We'd be the 14th state in the union to do it. And we can do it from some of our early calculations for about $1.25, $1.50 a paycheck. And we can create 8 weeks of paid parental leave for both, for if there's one parent, if there's two parents, 8 weeks. And we have seen what this does. It increases employee retention. People are more likely to stay with their company and re-enter the workforce. That is sort of, that often gets brought up in the conversation. Well, what about people leaving the workforce? What about blah, 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 blah? This actually saves companies money in the long term because they don't have to bring somebody in and rehire them and retrain them and go through all that again.
Yep.
It's expensive training people. The other thing, lowers infant mortality, has significant impacts on infant mortality. When the parents don't have the stress of how are we going to provide? How are we going to not have all of our bills collapse? Very, very, very few people can go a month without a paycheck without everything coming apart in their lives.
Yeah.
Creating paid parental leave, it lowers infant mortality. It lowers maternal mortality and postpartum depression. And it is shown to have dramatic positive impacts on childhood development. The children who are able to have a parent or two parents present for those early weeks of development so that there is that nurturing, close, we're here, we're talking, we're present, they do better They've tracked this. This has been so well studied. Huge surprise, right? Huge surprise that the more love and affirmation you have around a child, the better that child's going to do down the road. Imagine that. Who would have thought?
And of course, we know that there are exceptions to everything, but of course, Lord have mercy. The idea, you know what, Ethan, I keep listening to you talk, brother, and I'm like, listen to him talking about family values. I'm not saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. Bruh, look at you, Democrat. Listen, if ever they won't do it because they're not, they don't have the heart to debate policies. They just want to gerrymander the districts and stack and pack and all that other stuff. That's right. But if ever they were ever to get into a debate with you, brother, it's a wrap. It's not going to happen because go ahead.
No. We're going to be reaching out to my opponent. He did a radio debate with the Democratic candidate last time.
Okay.
We'll see if he's interested.
Okay. He might not want the smoke though, bro.
I've made it this far without. I've made it this far without beating my chest. I think strategically it is not in his interest to do this, but I think that from what I know of his personality, I don't think he's going to be able to walk away from it. And I think that's a real win for me.
Okay.
I think that's a real win for me. I love
that. See, look at you. You done your Oppo research. Come on. Whoever's advising you, they are doing wonderful things with your campaign. Your messaging is solid, brother. Guys, okay, tell the people, Ethan, where they can find you.
I am on the socials. The Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. I have a website, ethanforstatesenate.com. Those are all spelled out phonetic words. There's no secret numbers in there. ethanforstatesenate.com. If you're in the district, volunteer with me. Come knock doors. It is a good time. We meet our neighbors, and the thing is, people from all kinds of backgrounds, from every kind of walk, they're really upset. They're nervous. They're paying attention. We are in an energy crisis that is going to get worse. We are in a moment where people are aware of what's happening on a national level and how it's impacting them. A word like tariff used to be the nerdiest word you could say, and nobody knew what one was. Mm-hmm. Everyone's got an opinion on tariffs now. Mm-hmm.
Even dumb ones.
That is a really ripe environment to engage with our neighbors, and people are still coming out of COVID, and the sense of seeing other people again, people being at your door, knocking, asking you what's important to you, what's on your mind. People are engaging. So come out and volunteer with me. It's going to be awesome. And of course, donate. Please donate to this campaign. My opponent has a pinned endorsement from the president at the top of his social medias. He was one of 6 state senators that got a shout out from El Presidente for
Orange
being
Menace candidate. Huh?
And tragically, he called him the state senator representing the 47th congressional district in Indiana. Of course, we have 9 congressional districts. He's representing the 47th state senate. It is this tiny tragedy pinned right to the top of the shout out.
Well, I believe you have exactly what it takes to flip this seat.
Thank you. I know that we do. The candidate sent out the incumbent sent out his mailer from the end of this past legislative session, and it was culture war. Every single point was culture war. Mm-hmm. Boys out of girls' bathrooms, standing up for the Second Amendment, all empty issues that don't hit anyone where it counts at their pocketbook.
Exactly.
All issues. That's right. And playing on emotions that are really running low right now.
Yeah.
People are hurting.
Yeah.
Utilities are crushing people.
Yeah.
And there is not any movement from the incumbent to address any of these issues.
He doesn't have any idea. Well, I'm going to suggest he doesn't have any ideas. He's probably getting all his information from CPAC. And when they all get together and write in those think tanks and Heritage Foundation or whatever.
I became most aware of our incumbent about 2 years ago when he made national headlines for single-handedly introducing an amendment to strike consent from sex ed in Indiana.
That's him.
That's him. That is the incumbent. That is my opponent. He is the guy who single-handedly tried to remove the requirement that consent be included in comprehensive sex ed, the education program that has been shown to lower teen pregnancies, has been shown to lower incidence of assault going into college, a well-vetted and proven curriculum He wanted to take consent out because, quote, different communities have different opinions about that.
Nah, bro. So, and listen, I was at a forum where Representative Bartlett, John L. Bartlett in District 95 was talking about, he had been trying to get a human trafficking bill passed through. And he's like, we came close. He said, but I always wonder how we don't want to protect, people from being trafficked. And then he was like, and then he literally said, he's like, probably because most of them engage in it. And like, you have to I'm not saying you said that, but in his mind, he couldn't understand, like, why would you not want to protect people from being trafficked? Oh, wait, so maybe Mr. Consent Man ain't really always worried about consent. Yo, Ethan, Sweetland May, this was an absolute pleasure of a conversation. I really enjoyed listening to you. I really enjoyed engaging with you. And guys, I want you to donate to his campaign. I say this with every candidate I know, but please consider becoming a recurring donor. His donate link is right there. Become a $5, $10, $15, $20 recurring donor to his campaign, because it will help him reach all those people that you heard at the first part of this interview and how he's engaging people. It takes dollars to be competitive, y'all. It takes dollars. Thank you so much for joining me today, Ethan. This conversation was dope. I cannot wait to talk to you more.
Dana, thank you so much for having me on. This was such an absolute delight. And I just want to say one more thing about the donations. A lot of people are hurting right now. A lot of people are like, they see what's happening. My opponent was personally endorsed by the president. We know the president watches everything that happens that he puts his name to, and it feels very dear and personal to him. Would you like to get involved?
Yeah, absolutely.
I sure would appreciate your help.
All right, y'all. Ethan Sweetland May running for State Senate 47, right? District 47.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you, sir, and have a fantastic day.
Thank you so much, Dana. Really, really appreciate you.
Oh, my God. Did y'all just fall in love? I know I did. I fell all the way in love with Ethan. See, listen, y'all, I know a lot of my shows, and eventually people are going to figure out that I pretty much talk about the same thing all the time, but just from different perspectives and different places and different spaces and different voices, because it's still the same thing, no matter what's happening. What's happening in that state house is not benefiting Hoosiers. And we need everybody at every level, from every background, who believes in this work to show up and show out for these candidates. Listen, don't worry about what the numbers say. Don't worry about what the numbers say. Help this candidate get his message out. Donate. There's the donate link. Click on Ethan Sweetland May for Senate District 47 so that we can get him into that state house, crafting policies that are literally protecting victims of domestic violence, wanting family values by staying home and being able to take care of your kid for the first 8 weeks. Bro, did y'all hear this guy? Let's do what we got to do to help him. Y'all, thank you so much for tuning in to Turn Left. I'm Indiana's own Dana Black. I'll holler at you next time. Peace. Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions, executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by Dorian and 22 from Pixabay.